All right. Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to Zenfolio Live. I'm Nicole. No, I'm just kidding. I stole my wife's tea mug. I'm Robert with Zenfolio Customer Success. Thanks for joining me today on the live stream. We're going to be talking about easy, contactless online proofing for school and sports photography. I kind of want to clarify who this specific setup is for, right? This is going to be for photographers who are working with schools, working with league organizations, where one of the requirements from that league or that school or whoever it is that you're working for is not that every kid needs to be in their own gallery. Okay, so we're doing the easy setup today. If that is a requirement from the school that you're working with or the sports league that you're working with, Zenfolio can definitely help you out with that. And if that's really what you want to hear about, you can do a quick search on our YouTube channel for Zenfolio events, restricted events, anything like that. And there should be some videos that come up that will go into that, but we are going to be doing a live stream on that as well. The first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to talk about creating a landing page. So basically what we're going to create is we're going to create a space for the school or the organization that you work for, where it's a link that you can send out to the school and they can send it out to everybody on their list, however they want to do it. And it's a main landing page where parents can go and they can enter the password, the school password, and then they can browse through images. And however they browse for them is going to depend on how you want to organize it and how you want to set it up. Now, I prefer to organize things by year. It makes things easier for me. That's a workflow that I'm already used to working with, and it's a pretty logical workflow for most everybody else. However, I have seen people who like to set it up to where it's rather than the year being the organization, they'll have school photos, sports teams, cheer, and then inside of those different categories, there are then year categories that you have to browse through. That's okay if that works for you, if that's what you want and that's what you want to provide. I just prefer with starting out with the year. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go in here and we're going to create some stuff to kind of get this set up. All right, so in my Zenfolio account in here, I've already created this group in here. So I've kind of already set all this stuff up, but I want to show you guys how I did this, some of the settings and that I've used, okay? So what I would recommend starting out is that you first create a section or a group that is specifically for your schools or your sports leagues or whatever you primarily focus on. I've already done that here, but I'm just going to recreate one really quick to show you the steps that I've taken and talk about the settings that I've applied to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right up here to all photographs, and I'm going to click this little caret menu right here. And let me just turn off my video in case I'm covering anything on the screen that you guys need to see. And I'm going to click this little caret menu right here. And we're just going to hit create new group right here. So it's really important that we create a new group. If you're not familiar with what a group is, it's basically like a folder, except that you can't upload images into a group. You have to create galleries. So I'm going to create a new group. And let's say that I was going to create this for my sports leagues that I shoot for. So let's say I do school and sports separately. I want to create a separate kind of location for my sports. So I'm going to call this sport. All right. And I'm just going to hit enter. And then what we're going to do before we do anything else, we're going to apply some specific settings to this. So I'm going to go to the group right here. I'm going to go up to access. And the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to make this private, because what I want is the second that I upload anything into this group, into this folder, I want it to start off as being private. And the reason that I want that to happen is because I don't want to have to worry about Google indexing it or my images showing up on Google search or things like that. So as long as I've created that group to be set to private, then Google cannot index it or anything that's inside of it. And that's why I'm setting this group up like that. Now, we're going to talk about changing things a little bit down the road, but this is my main group for this sports folder. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set that to private. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go to downloading. This should be disabled by default, but it's worth checking while you're here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to search. All right. And this is a setting you definitely want to check, okay? This is a setting that, depending on how you've set up your account, what you've done, what changes you've made, you definitely want to check this setting. And this is search. And what this is this will allow Google to index and search this content. Or you can set it to be searchable only on your site, or you can say, do not include any photos or videos in any search result. Now, this is the option that I'm going to choose. What this is going to do is prevent Google from indexing stuff. It's just an added extra layer of protection. Okay. And so now after I choose that option, I'm going to click save. Okay. And so now basically what I've done is I've kind of created this container in my Zenfolio account for all of my sports leagues. Now I'm just not going to start uploading images in there because what we're going to do inside of that container is we're actually going to give each sport league that we work with kind of their own folder, and that folder is also going to double as their landing page. Okay, so I'm going to go through the process of creating those folders, talk a little bit about that stuff, but then we'll go back up to the schools because I want to show you kind of the stuff that I've already set up and actually has some content in it. Okay. All right. So we're going to go inside of sports here. And let's say that I have a couple of different leagues that I typically photograph every year. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a new group. And let's call this the, we'll say this is East Raleigh sport. Okay. And one of the things that you're going to notice is that the second that I create that group inside of this group, it is going to take on the settings that I've applied to this. So it's already private and it already has the search functionality turned off. This is something that I want to change because I want the parents, the players, the directors of this particular sports league to actually be able to access that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go up to access and I'm going to lock that with a password. And this is going to be the league's password. So this will be the password that anybody who wants to gain access to that league's landing page will need to enter in order to gain access to it. So it needs to be something that's not terribly difficult, but would be a challenge if somebody was trying to hack into it. But we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to say ERS. I'm going to say 21 just for the year. Okay, and then you can see the password right here. And then we're just going to go ahead and save it. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to create what's called a friendly URL, or later on down the road, we're going to refer to this as the school or league ID. Okay, so when I get to that point, I'll remind you about this, but what we're going to do is we're going to click on that folder one more time, and then we're going to go up here to access. We're going to go and look for the word sharing, and we're going to choose this little friendly URL toggle. All right. And for this group ID, I'm just going to put ERS for East Raleigh Sports. And this is going to become the school or league code that will actually get them to their landing page. And then they will have to follow that up with a password, with the password that we created. So this particular group is going to kind of have two levels of protection to it. All right, we're going to click save right here. Okay, so we have that particular folder set up for that sports league now. All right, so again, we've created a secure place where we're going to put in all of the folders for all of the different sports leagues that we photograph. So if I had, 4 or 5 different sports leagues that I work with typically each year, or 4 or 5 schools, I would then kind of create another folder in here for each one of those. And then, like I said, this folder is going to double as their landing page. So I wanted to show you that kind of creation process a little bit. Now we're going to go back up here to the school section where I've basically already done all the stuff that I just showed you. I built the school folder. I have a school already in here. And if I had multiple schools, again, I would be adding extra folders in here so each school had their own folder. So once you kind of add a league in here or a school, all right, once you have a school in here, Then what I typically recommend that you do first is you create a gallery inside of this, okay? And as you can see, I have one right here called assets, and I'm going to explain why. So I'm going to show you what that is for, how to do this, and why you would want to do this. So I'm just going to create a gallery in here, and I'll just call this assets 2 because I already have assets 1. I'm not telling you to create 2 assets gallery. I'm just showing you the process. So we'll say this is assets 2, okay? And the purpose of this gallery is for you to upload design assets for that school, right? Whether it's a school logo, maybe it's a photograph that you took of the front of the school, maybe it's different files like that that you might want to use on that school's landing page, but you don't necessarily want it to be a gallery that's there for people to publicly go through and browse, okay? And so that's what I'm creating this for. So after you create that gallery, you're just going to go up to, and I can't do it because this one doesn't have any photos. So if I click on this one that actually has a photo in it, right here, you'll see the photo up here. And then you're just going to click on this and toggle that cover photo off. And what that means is that when somebody is inside of that school's gallery or landing page, they're browsing through the different years of content, that particular gallery right here won't even show up. So the next thing that you're going to want to do, right, is again, keep in mind that this folder right here for this particular school, this folder is basically going to become their landing page. So when somebody goes to your site, they're going to put in a code. It's going to take them to that school's landing page, and then they enter the password, and then they've landed on that school's landing page. This is a page you can use to give the parents information. If you do pre-order, you could put pre-order links in there, which we'll be talking about next week. So lots of good information, okay? But so what we're going to do is we're going to click on this folder, and then you're going to go up here to details, and you're going to go right over here to this details section. And this is where you can write a caption. And this caption is going to appear, as long as it's turned on, it's going to appear at the top section of that particular school's landing page, okay? So you can put a lot of information in here. I just kind of put a title. I did some lorem ipsum stuff in here. And then the other thing down here at the bottom is if you want to put some links in here, you can. Like maybe you wanted to put a pre-order link in here, you could put some text, use the link tool, and I'll just say for this goes to Google. All right, but you would actually be linking to something useful and not just Google, like your pre-order page or something like that. And two, one of the things that might be nice is to have that open up in a new tab so that they don't lose the school landing page. And if you guys are totally lost, I promise you when we finish all this setup up, I'm going to show you how this works, how this looks to your clients, and it's all going to make sense. I promise, promise, promise. Okay? All right. So I'm going to hit OK, and I've now added a link in there, and then I would just click Save. All right. So just to recap what we've done really quick, we have created our special section for our schools and our sports. Inside of the schools folder, I went ahead and created a folder for this particular school. And then this is where I would go in and start creating folders inside of here based on the year, right? So if I've photographed this school for the past 4 years, and I'm just now getting on Zenfolio, and maybe I have the past 4 years of this school's photos somewhere on a hard drive, right? Think about that. That is work that you've done, that you've put in, that is sitting on a hard drive, that's essentially costing you a little bit of money and effort to maintain, and really not giving you any return if you're not actively trying to sell those images. You could take those images and upload it into that school's folder and kind of do a year index like I'm doing now. And then how amazing is it that when parents go to that school landing page for this year's photos, they not only see that they can purchase this year's photos, but they can go back and purchase photos from previous years as well. So something to think about, using those old images, creating the school landing page, keeping an archive up of previous year shoots, something to think about here. Okay, all right. So what I've done is I've created a folder for 2020, and then inside of that, I have several different things in here. Now, this organization is really going to depend on the size of the school, your personal organization style. You might want to have a little bit of communication with the school and see if there's some kind of particular settings that they follow, if they have particular naming conventions that they use, and try to use that into your organization. All right, because what I did was I just organized all of this on my computer first, and then I used Zenfolio's folder upload. Okay, so let's just pretend like this 2020 folder didn't exist in here. What I would do is after I finished shooting school photos, got them all edited, organized however I wanted to have them organized by year, by grade, by class, however the organization you need it to be. Then what I would do is come in here, click on that school's folder, hit upload, and then you would just pull up the folder here, and I'm going to bring this over here. You would just pull up the folder here, and as you guys can see in here, if I click in this, I have first, second, third grade, fourth grade. Now, maybe some of the grades are smaller and they only have one class, so they just have the images right in there. But maybe in the fourth grade, there are multiple teachers in there. Then I have each folder broken down by that teacher's name. Again, it really depends on whatever organization you're looking for, whatever organization you need, what's the easiest for you, but also what is going to be easy for the parents to navigate as well. Because really, it doesn't matter how easy it is for you. If parents can't get to their kids' images, if they get confused, if they get frustrated, it doesn't matter how good your photos are or how easy this is for you. If nobody can get in there to buy it, it doesn't really matter, right? And then chances are parents are going to complain, and then there's a good chance you might end up losing that contract. So really think about this, think about the organization and setting it up so that it's easy for parents to navigate. We're going to go into that in a second. Okay, so what I did is I would just grab this folder here and just drag it right into our uploader. Now, I've already uploaded this folder, obviously, but let me just show you what happens. I'm going to say use unique names. It's going to create this 2020 folder. Inside of that, each folder that just had images becomes a gallery, but any folder that has subfolders in it will then become a group that then has galleries inside of it. And you can upload folders that go up to three folders deep is where it stops. So you do have to keep that in mind when you're creating this organization on your computer. Now I'm not going to upload this. I've already uploaded it. We're going to go back and take a look now at what that would look like had I actually uploaded it. So we're just going to go back to photos. I'm going to say leave this page. All right. And we're going to go right down here. And here is the 2020 folder. And here is first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade turned into a folder with then sub-galleries in it right here. All right. So that is how it would look once you uploaded it into your Zenfolio account. Okay, so now that we have that uploaded in here, and I'm not going to talk about putting a price list on it or things like that. I do want to mention that if you plan on proofing, in other words, if you plan on, offering multiple images or maybe just letting parents see the photos, deciding which ones they like and then purchasing after you've edited the photos that they like. The method that I recommend that you do that is using Zenfolio's order approval. Now, I would love to go into that today because it's such a powerful feature. I don't have time, but what I do have is a video where I've already gone in and explained that. So now that we've talked about that, we need to talk about how do people actually get to their school's landing page. All right, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. One way that you could do it is you could go just to that folder right here. You could go up to access, you could go to share, and you can go right here to copy this URL. And then you can email that to the school and say, here's the link to your guys' landing page. When people go here, they'll need to enter this password. That's the password for the entire folder. Once they enter that password, they'll be able to go in and browse the different years and all of that stuff and purchase photos. So you could do that. if you wanted to do that and kind of give a direct link to it. The other thing that you could do as well is you could use the client access feature that Zenfolio has. Now, if you guys have hung out on the live stream long enough, you know that usually I am not a big fan of the client access feature because it kind of involves some extra steps. That's when it's working with one-on-one clients, right? With portrait clients, where you're already going to be email communicating with them anyway. I don't like using the client access feature for that. But the reason that I like using the client access feature for schools and for sports is because when parents go to use this feature, they kind of have to see my website first. They kind of have to go to my website and then they're going to look for the client access feature, go in and put the gallery information in to then go directly to the gallery. And I'll show you what that looks like. But the reason that I'm saying I like it for that is because now you think about all the traffic that is browsing through your site. They're not just going directly to their school's landing page and looking at just those photos, but it gives them an opportunity to see the other type of photography that you do as well. If that's something that you want to do. Now, if you are not interested in picking up other clients and doing portrait sessions and family shoots outside of doing youth sports then or schools, then by far the best way to go is the direct email route. But if you're interested in giving people a little bit of a preview of what the other types of photography that you do, using the client access route will have them go to your homepage. They can see your homepage images, maybe browse through your portfolio, and then they can click on the client access to then go to their school's landing page. So just some food for thought. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to copy this right here. All right, because this is what we need to use the client access feature. And then I'm going to go hover over website. And whenever I do this, I like to open this up in a new tab. So I'm going to hover over website, right click on customize site, open this up in a new tab. This way I have two separate tabs, one with edit view open and then one with customize view. Like I said, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can add that client access up here to your menu bar. And I'll show you how to do that. And then you can also put it in some other places as well. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to edit site menu. I'm going to hit plus new. You could call this client access. You could say school and sports. You could name it specifically for what you're using it for. If you're just going to use it for your sports clients, then you can do that. I'm going to call this client access just so you guys can see what I'm doing. But again, I would maybe call this like school and sports or something like that. Now we're going to link this menu item to a built-in or custom page. And then you go down here and you can select from your list. Client access is right here and hit update. Okay, so that's one way that you can put the client access feature on your website. This is going to refresh. You'll now see the client access menu right here. And if I click on that, it's going to take me to the client access page. All right. And we'll talk about this in a second. I'm not really going to go through customizing this. There are some customizations that you can do, but I'm not really going to talk about that today. Let me go back because the other thing that you can do is you can also put it in your footer, which is down here. Now, depending on what's on your homepage, depending on what instructions you want to provide, you may or may not want to show it down here, but this is an option. And if you want to show it in your footer, you just go down to your site footer, go to the layout, make sure that you're using layout B, and then go to elements and make sure that you have the client access toggled on. And as you see here, you can give it a different name. Okay. All right. So now that I've done that, I'm going to publish this so that these changes go live. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in a new incognito window. Now, it's really important that you do test in incognito windows. If I were to test out the client access feature right now, test out all that, I wouldn't have to enter the password because I'm logged in as the photographer. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to go in Google Chrome to a new incognito window, paste in this link that I have right here. That's going to take me to my website. And then from here, I can click on the client access and then enter my school code. Now I wrote in there school code. So I'm gonna enter a school code. In this case, it was, I forget, I think it's ERS. All right, so East Raleigh Sports. No. I'm not doing East Raleigh Sports. What am I doing? Let me go back here and let me remember what the school code was for this particular folder. Okay, so this is the particular school code for that folder. So I'm going to go back and I would enter that. All right. That would take me here. And then this is where I would have to enter that school password. So again, I don't remember what I made it because I made this earlier. So I'm just going to go up here and see what the password is. Panthers. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then I would go here, enter Panthers, and hit go. And this is what this landing page looks like, okay? And so here is the text that I wrote in that caption. Again, you could really use this to put some really good relevant information in there. I just kind of put some gibberish in there just to show you what it kind of would look like. Again, a link right here. And if I click on this link, it's gonna open me up to Google in a new tab. But that could be a pre-order link or something like that. This could be, hey, if you want to find your kids' photos, browse by the year, et cetera, they can go in there. And then parents are just going to go, okay, it's 2020. Let me go to the 2020 folder. And my child is in the fourth grade. So let me go fourth grade. And then my child's in Mr. Rogers' class. And here are the photos for that. All right. And so that is the simple way to set this up, having it set up so that people can go in and browse. The nice thing about this is, again, you can have previous years in there so that when parents are going in, maybe they forgot to purchase photos from last year. Maybe they purchased photos from last year and they lost them, or somebody wanted some extra ones, or whatever reason. They're now seeing that those photos are still available. Right. And this also gives you a really nice centralized place to communicate with people. You can write coupon codes in here. You can put all kinds of information in here. Also, if you do any other type of photography work for that school, maybe you go in and you shoot live events and things like that, you can have a folder just for that. Maybe the school's looking for a place to post images. Maybe they have parents go in and take photos and they want to have some up there. You could do something like that, right? You could have a couple of your friends or your parents' friends working, taking photos and having a place to host those live photos on there where people can actually go in and view them and purchase downloads or prints or whatever you want to offer.